Welcome back. Today we're discussing dating and men. So ladies, can you just tell us how you viewed men while you were in the business?
I think for me, every communication was a transaction. You know, whether it was for drugs or whether it was for sex, all of my communications were a transaction. And so for me, you know, coming out of the industry, it was difficult for me to have a regular conversation. And I didn't have any great examples, you know, like I think of you and your husband, and what a great example that is to me across the world. You know, some really beautiful examples of what being pursued looks like, and what dating looks like, and what holiness looks like, and what purity, whether it's for, you know, you've got purity, or whether it's a redeemed purity, seeing what that looks like. And so for me, I was so distorted in my thinking that for me, men were a transaction.
I felt the same, and you know, I was so angry at men, and at first going to the sex industry, I had this false sense of empowerment that I was taking back control of my body, and I was going to get the upper hand, and I'm going to exploit for myself what's always been exploited. But then realized that I still realized I'm at their mercy because I can't survive. I can't make money unless they exploit me. And so I became so angry. Men essentially, I thought, were perverts and walking wallets. It was all about how can I get the money in your wallet into my pocket, and I'm going to hustle you because I'm angry at you. And if you pull one false move, I will take my stiletto off and put it into your skull. Like, that's how angry I was at men at the time.
Wow. And so did you ladies take any time off from dating? I mean, it seems like it's two extremes. I mean, when you left the business, that's your perspective of men, and then there's that time where you're transitioning into whatever you're going to do next. I mean, did you take time off from dating, and how long did you wait before you dated again?
When I left the business, I broke up with the boyfriend and moved out on my own, and I didn't want to take time off. The first church I went to, the pastor's wife told me not to date. And that just made me want to do it more, because I'm like, it didn't make sense to me. Like, why wouldn't I date? So then I had a boyfriend, and she asked me if we held hands, and it was really weird. So anyway, so I did date until about 3 years ago, and I didn't mean to take a year off dating, but God didn't put anybody in my life for a year. And then I purposely went on a fast for a year from men. And that way I could work on myself. And yeah,
I took 6 months off dating right when I left the industry, and I didn't want to. My friend was like, you know, she was taking 6 months off dating, and I was like, I could never do that. And she's like, maybe that's why you should. And so I was like, oh. And I started to focus on building friendships with women, and started to realize how much I had relied on the attention of a man to validate me. But the day the 6 months was over, I was dating again. And so I, in retrospect, realized I probably could have used a little bit more time, ladies. And I married him. So there you go.
Which I'm sure will come up in the next segment.
Mine was definitely, I had never been pursued. Like, to this day, I don't know what a holy, sweet, beautiful pursuit of love, you know, I'm worthy of it now, but I don't know what it looks like. I'm excited for it to come one day. But for me, a year after I became a Christian, I was running a house. There was a spare room. A guy that I'd met in rehab needed a place to stay. He moved in. We got drunk. I got pregnant. He said, I guess we better get married. So I've never actually, you know, that was 12 years ago. You know, my daughter's 11. So I kind of look at it and go, I don't know what it looks like, but I'm excited for it. But it also gives me, hopefully, wisdom to be able to address the needs of the women that we reach out to. Because it's just like, sweetheart, I'm not saying you can learn from my mistakes, but you need to learn your own. But I'm telling you that, again, Cloud and Townsend book, Boundaries Before Marriage, will change your life.
Yeah.
And I'm learning it for myself, you know, so.
That's awesome, ladies. Thank you so much for sharing. And coming up, our panel will talk about how they've tackled the dating world.